Did you know Coco Chanel was a failure in Hollywood? Today, the French designer is remembered as one of the most influential fashion figures of the 20th century, but also as an extremely controversial one, especially because of her complicated place in World War II history. So, the chapter of her life where she tried her hand at dressing Hollywood movie stars is often forgotten. In 1931, at a time when her fashion house was already world famous, Gabrielle Coco Chanel was introduced to Hollywood producer Samuel Goldwyn of United Artists through a mutual acquaintance. Goldwyn believed that bringing a Paris haute couture into the American film world would attract more moviegoers and make his stars even bigger trendsetters. Goldwyn offered her a guaranteed contract reportedly worth about $1 million, roughly equivalent to more than $20 million today. Chanel arrived in Hollywood in style, and her journey from Paris to Los Angeles was heavily covered by the press. There were signs from the beginning that this collaboration would not go smoothly. In one interview with the New York Times, Chanel admitted that she rarely even saw movies because once she finished her work in Paris, she preferred to return to the countryside and didn't have time for trivial things like movies. During her short stint in Hollywood, Chanel worked on costumes for 3 films. For Palmy Days, she created 4 versions of the same dress for actress Barbara Weeks, making small adjustments to the gown so it would photograph better from different camera angles. Next, she worked on The Greeks Had a Word for Them. Chanel reportedly created around 30 outfits for the film. Finally, she designed costumes for Gloria Swanson in Tonight or Never. This may have been her most frustrating assignment because Swanson became pregnant during production. The gown Chanel had originally designed for her no longer fit the way they were supposed to, and it was also a rather traumatic experience for Swanson, who reportedly had to wear a girdle that went down to her knees to be able to fit in the gowns at all. Once Chanel finished her immediate obligations, she collected her check and returned to Paris. That collaboration was over, and the satisfaction was not one-sided. Chanel spoke negatively about her time in Hollywood. She hated being a subordinate within the film studio system, where she had to take notes and feedback from film executives. She disliked Hollywood culture, called it vulgar and infantile, and she allegedly referred to Hollywood as the capital of bad taste. Film executives were also frustrated with Chanel. They needed clothes that would show up on screen, flatter actresses under studio lights, and create visual drama. Chanel, however, did not want to compromise her creative vision. Her signature style was always refined, understated, and modern, and that didn't always translate that well in film at this time. Audiences also didn't really connect with Chanel's Hollywood vision. This was the age of glamour. Moviegoers wanted fantasy. They wanted sequins, feathers, drama, sparkle, and excess. Especially during the Great Depression, films offered people a chance to live vicariously through movie stars. And because most movies were still being filmed in black and white, costume design had to work even harder to capture moviegoers' eyes. Clothes needed contrast, movement, texture, and spectacle. Chanel's elegant simplicity may have been revolutionary in real life, but on screen, it looked restrained and fell flat. Some accounts suggested that studio costumers felt her designs were simply not sensational enough for Hollywood. Though brief and far from the long-term fashion film partnership Goldwyn imagined, Chanel's Hollywood year is still a fascinating cultural moment. It shows that tension between high fashion and studio costuming in the early film era. Chanel did continue to design for films sporadically, including European cinema later in the decade, but she never repeated the grand Hollywood experiment of 1931. And if there's anything to learn from this, I think it's that you are not a failure just because you do not succeed at everything you try. Sometimes you just haven't found the right audience. Coco Chanel is remembered today as a glamorous fashion figure who revolutionized women's fashion, helped popularize the little black dress, and left behind a deeply complicated legacy that includes her ties to Nazis and anti-Semitic views. But no one would say she was a failed fashion designer just because she failed in Hollywood.